Welcome to the channel. We have another conversation going on today. It's another personal conversation that I had with God, and He was just showing me some things. So let's jump into it. So the backstory: I had just got let go from my job, and I was at home, and I was trying to prove myself to God, just telling Him that, it's always in the back of my mind. If a man don't work, he don't eat. So that's always in the back of my mind, and I always trying to prove myself to God, to show Him that I'm not lazy and that I am well deserved of. I'm a well deserving person. Also, while I was not having a job, that's the time that I actually committed myself to God 100%. Just whatever He says goes. I'm not going to argue with it. I got to the point where I just got to the point to where the life that I have, obviously I can't run it I can't be successful and run it the way that I want it. Every time I'm trying to do something, every time I take 2 steps forward, I have to take 3 steps and 4 steps backwards. Every time I've tried to do something in my life, it has not worked out the way I wanted to work out. I have endured witchcraft attacks since I was a kid. Once I graduated college, it turned up so much. I've dealt with the spirit of mind control. I dealt with spiritual witchcraft infecting pain throughout my body, such as my teeth or my legs or my head, my face, my arms, my fingers, just any part of my body. I dealt with manipulative people, smile in your face and just do some evil things behind your back. I dealt with people that just do evil things in front of your face. So anyway, just getting off track. Anyway, so this was the time that, so I was headed to the gym, and what was it? Oh, sorry. So let's back up. So the schedule that I had, so while the time I was laid off, I created a schedule for myself, and I dedicated that schedule to God. And I told God, this is the schedule I'm going to follow while I'm not working. And it was just mostly to keep myself busy, because we grind culture, we have to keep ourselves busy. So, and I dedicated that schedule to God, and I just said, okay, so a few weeks, how long? I don't know. It was some time after that, and then as I was heading to the gym, which is part of my schedule, I had this conversation with God, and so the voice popped in my head: I didn't give you that schedule. You can do whatever you want. So when I heard that, after I heard that, immediately I felt walls that was around me, invisible walls that was around me. I felt them be lowered or removed from me. And so I felt naked. I felt like I was uncovered, and that nakedness or that uncoveredness was freedom. I'll get to that later. So after I heard that voice, I felt like walls were just dropping. I already said that. Yeah, after hearing this, I felt a lack of structure that I provided for myself. And I felt a lack of structure that I created for myself under the guise of being busy. So my next thought was, well, since I don't have to follow this schedule, does it mean that I need to get a job? Then the voice said, you can do whatever it is that you want. Then my next thought was, if I get a job, then I'm just going to go back to my old ways. I'm going to mess with, if I get a job, I'm going to mess with my progress. I know I'm going to get distracted. I'm going to end up going back to smoking and drinking, having sex. I'm going to go back to smoking and drinking to cope with dealing with people on a daily basis. I'm going to deal with more spiritual warfare via other people. I'm going to have to deal with absorbing people's energies and emotions daily because I'm constantly around them. And it was just a lot of things that I know that I would have to deal with in the progress where I would have to mess up. I know it was a lot of things I know I would have to deal with, and it will negatively impact my progress. So the next thought, I was like, nah, I'll just follow God. I'll just let God do what he got to do. So after I thought that, I looked up and I looked at this machine and I saw these letters that just popped out. They jumped out at me. I'm sure I've saw these letters before. So after I had that thought, I looked up and these letters, like these bold white letters, looked as if they jumped out at me, as if this was the first time my eyes ever noticed these letters. And it spelled out SMART, S-M-A-R-T. And I actually chuckled to myself and I was like, God got a sense of humor. Now, this is like the umpteenth time that I thought about this. Every time something that doesn't go the way I think it should go, I'm always thinking in my mind, did I make the right decision? I decided to just go all in. I decided to just turn my complete life over to God. I'm going to put all my faith in him. At this point, I'm thinking like, what else do I have to lose? I know where I'm going. I know where I'm headed if I do not follow him. I have been emotionally destroyed. Physically, I have enough energy to get through the day, but it's lacking. Mentally, I'm fighting. I'm hearing voices in my head. Around this time, this is the very first time that I had heard my mom's voice. My mom been dead for she's been dead for some years. And this at that time, during that time, that was the very first time I heard my mom's voice, and I just knew that, and among other voices, and I just knew that whatever the devil had for me, he's getting real close, and he's going to get me soon, and I don't know what else to do. And the only thing that I can do is just go to God and just let him do what he have to do. Just let him figure out, or let him figure everything out, because I don't know what else to do. At that time and point in my life, I was thinking like, I'm about to be homeless, because I can't hold a job down because of all the stuff that I keep running into. People just not liking me for no reason. People starting trouble with me. People going to HR about me. People are just telling lies about me. And I've never done anything to these people. Don't even know these people. I keep to myself. I don't really talk to a lot of people. And I like keeping to myself. I've always been that way. On top of homelessness, I just felt in my spirit that I was also going to be dealing with prostitution, because I knew I was going to have to feed myself, and I knew I was going to have to do something to sustain myself. And drugs and hopelessness, of course, was also going to be there too. Some years ago, I was in a very, very low point in my life. And somebody pulled something out and started smoking it in front of me. And I didn't know what that was, but my body was just saying, just try it. Whatever it is, it doesn't matter what it is, just do it. Like, what do you have to lose? And I just couldn't do it. I couldn't pull myself to do it, but something like my body, something in my mind was just telling me, just do it and get it over with. And I couldn't do it, but I knew that where my life was headed, homelessness, prostitution, drugs, hopelessness, I didn't want to go down that road, but I didn't know what else to do. Every time I talk about this subject, like, all the feelings, it pop back up again, and it just makes me emotional. And I deal with a lot of things that a lot of people don't understand. I deal with a lot of things, and the reason why I'm like a loner. I like to be by myself. Even when I have people calling my phone, I have friends calling my phone and want to be around me and want to, hang out and chill out. And a lot of times I just don't even want to be around them. This video has turned into something completely different. But I was supposed to connect us to another subject or topic. I was supposed to be merging two topics together, but this one topic has taken over, and it's really causing me to think back into those depressing times in my life. But I can say that although that I am still going through witchcraft, I'm still going through spiritual attacks, and that I'm still praying, and that, I still hear voices from time to time, and I know that I do believe that I'm on the right track. I have my own place, I have my own car, I'm okay. I lean on God for everything that I have, for everything that I need. because it comes to a point to where you're not able to, you undergo so much torment, or you deal with so much torment on a day-to-day basis. And a lot of times it's not even physical, it's spiritual torment. And a lot of times you can't make it out of bed. And a lot of people don't understand that. They say that, you're lazy, or they say that you just don't want to work, or they say that you just, I don't know what, but, I can't be either of those, any of those, because, I got myself, I started off humble beginnings. I grew up in poverty, like straight up poverty. I grew up in poverty. We didn't always have food in the refrigerator. I was picked on, it was grade school. My mom couldn't afford us to have like name brand clothes. So I was picked on because of that. I was picked on because I wasn't as masculine as other guys. I got 3 sisters, I got a mom, I have aunts. There's like maybe one man that I probably see, and that was my uncle, that was my aunt husband, and he didn't really come around like that. So, they had their own family. So, yeah. So I was picked on for that. I rejected myself. I rejected myself. But anyway, fast forward, I graduated high school. I was homeless we were kicked out the place that we were staying at. We were evicted from where we was living. My brother was still in high school. I was I was 19. I had just turned 19, and then we had to find somewhere to live. I was told 2 weeks before we were. I was told 2 weeks before we was moving that we had to find somewhere to live. At 19. Fast forward, I hopped and I couch surfed through different people's houses. Left and went to different states to live with the person I was dealing with at the time, which is very abusive relationship, very toxic. Had to return to my hometown and deal more with what it is that I had going on. And anyway, fast forward, I finally got myself into college. I got myself into college. I got through college, and that was horrible. I had the roughest time in college. I was in the classes. I was in some classes to where it was like for disabilities, people with disabilities. But by the time I hit, it was like middle school, 8th grade middle school, they asked me if I wanted to keep it was called an IEP. So it's for people with disabilities. And they would ask me if I wanted to keep it or I wanted to give it away. And I just said, I can, and that was 8th grade middle school. And it was like, so I told them, I was like, at the time I was in like advanced math. English wasn't that great. I could hold my own, but it wasn't that great, but I was really great in math. So I was in advanced math at the time, and they asked me, do you want to keep your IEP? And I told them, nah, I got this. But it was hell for me. I got through high school, but it was hell. I went to college, got through college, it was hell for me. I had migraines every day. Almost every day I had migraines. I was stressed. I didn't have any money, but I had people calling me, asking me for money. It was very stressful at that time. Graduated. That's when the spiritual warfare increased like nobody's business. Anyway, but never really found a good job. I went after my dream. Never really could find a good job. I went after my dream though. I went after my dream. I always wanted to be a realtor. I was taking a test and doing all that good stuff at the age of 19. I always knew what I wanted to do. I always wanted to be a realtor. But it never really worked out that way for me. So went to college to avoid homelessness. And then I graduated, could never find a job. Spiritual warfare was like times 20, times 100. It was bad. I would have interviews with people that rolling their eyes, they're huffing and puffing, coughing and sighing very loudly. And I'm like, you doing this in an interview? It was just so much stuff that I had went through. I remember when I walking up to the hiring manager and just introducing myself, and she rolled her eyes at me. And I was like, oh God. I went ahead and did the interview, but I was just like, I know where this is heading. But yeah. So years after graduating, never found a job. Never found a job. I've been jumping from job to job ever since I graduated college. Never found a job. And it just got to the point where I've tried my way, I've tried hard, I've tried years to run my life, and I have been unsuccessful at running my life, not for the lack of trying, but for all the things that was happening to me that I couldn't see, that I had no control over. So many people want to make it seem like as if, you haven't worked hard enough, or you're lazy, or whatever the case may be, but you can have tried your hardest and it still have not worked out for you. And at this point in my life, I have friends, they have bought houses, brand new cars, they have families. I am still I am still in the same position as I was when we graduated college. It's just very uncomfortable to admit that. This is the reason why I just gave my life over to God. There are things, so many things that we're battling that we can't even see. And it breaks you down because you had all this planned out for your life and it never panned out the way you thought it would work. I had plans for my life. I had everything set out and scheduled how I wanted to work out, and nothing worked out the way I had planned it. All I could do was give my life to God. What else could I do? If I continue down this road of continue to push through and try to push my way into whatever, it was just going to break me down even more. Just being broken down and having no, like, I wouldn't say I wouldn't have, I don't have any support. I do have support, but just being broken down constantly on a daily basis, yearly basis, it weighs on you. seeing other people and doing the things that you want to do, and they achieving things that you want to achieve, and no matter how hard you try, stuff just is not working out for you. It takes you to a really dark place, a heavy place. So all I can say is, although I have given my life to God and I struggle with things every day, just because I give my life to God, just because I accepted my life, I accepted Jesus Christ in my life, and I run away from temptation. I try to flee it day in and day out, even down to my thoughts. I cast those thoughts down daily. I cast those thoughts down hourly. And, I try my best to live the way God wants me to live. To be a holy vessel is not easy. It's difficult, but I still try. And because I just believe, the only thing I can believe, I have nothing else inside of me, but I have to believe this, that my life is going to get better, that my life will pan out the way that I have always wanted to pan out. And this can't be it. Like, it has to be more. It's got to be more. It has to be more. It has to be more. Like, all of this it's got to be more, bro. It's got to be more.